Good evening. We'll call to order the City of Oak Park Heights Parks Commission meeting for January 22nd. Could I get a motion to approve this evening's agenda?
I'm going to make a motion we approve the agenda.
Thank you. A second? Second, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose? Thank you. Approval of the Parks and Trails meeting minutes from November 20th. Board members, if you haven't had a chance, take a look through those, and I'll wait for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
A second?
All in favor of approving meeting minutes from November 20th, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose? Thank you. Department Commission Liaison Reports, Arborist, Lisa?
Good evening, everyone. Just a quick update tonight for you guys. Tomorrow, at the council meeting tomorrow night, the 2024 Prairie Vegetation Management quotes will be on the agenda for approval. This year's maintenance includes a spring prescribed burn at Valley View and Swagger, and then 3 weed control visits based upon the growing conditions throughout the season. Also, I placed at each of your seats tonight a summary of the work that was done at the prairies in 2023 by Minnesota Native Landscapes. Thought it was nice how they kind of summarized everything for us to see in one spot versus me reporting every month or whenever I have an update, just seeing it all together.
Yep, very good.
So that's everything I have for tonight.
Thank you.
Oh, and I guess I should mention too, we've got lots of emerald ash borer around town. We will be taking down 50 more trees with the 2022 Minnesota DNR preparing for EAB grant. That will be the last of the trees removed with that. And then we will finish the planting with those grant funds as well coming here this spring, 55 more trees. And then from there, we'll have to kind of figure out what route we're going to take as far as the funding of all those removals. We've got 500 to 600 trees left to take down. And basically since fall, Andy and I were driving around last week taking a look, and since last fall, it's increased drastically, the conditions of the trees that are becoming poorer and poorer. So definitely if there's one on the boulevard or in a resident's backyard, the backyard trees, those are the residents' responsibility. The boulevard trees we will take care of, but right now we're starting with the worst condition trees and then moving from there.
Is there one area that's more infected than another, or is it kind of widespread?
I would say there's probably the most around City Hall here in the Brecky Park neighborhood.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I saw that.
And not as much over in the Autumn Ridge neighborhood. And then down around Covert Park, and then by the government center, there isn't as much either, but there aren't as many ash trees located there. So it's pretty,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be really noticed around City Hall here.
So how many boulevard, you said there were boulevard and backyard trees. How many is the city going to be responsible for taking down total?
We've got 500 to 600 left.
Do you know, other communities must have faced this.
Still are
Just-
facing this.
Yeah.
Pardon?
They still are facing this, yes.
So-
And I do want to note that Lisa has been very diligent in keeping her eye very closely on grants. We have received a couple, and I know that's not public, but she may have a surprise for you coming up in the next month or two with another grant. So that's all we can do at this point, other than using our city budget for funding. But we're doing what we can. It's, it's kind of is this a unique situation? I don't know that it really is, because
No.
we've had the bark beetle with the pine trees
Yep.
and several other trees.
Yep.
So,
You could relate it to Dutch elm
Yeah.
previously, and that happened when a majority of the same type of tree was planted on boulevards everywhere in this area. And then they planted ash's replacement, so now we're in the same predicament. So moving forward, we aren't planting any maple on the boulevards or in the parks, just because if something were to come next to kill off a tree, it's likely gonna attack maple trees, just because there's so many of those next. So.
And I would add too, Mr. Chair, just related to your question, not unique to Oak Park Heights, just in my experience in coming from Illinois, as the beetle, emerald ash borer beetle, just moved up north, wiped out, ash trees in Illinois and those southern states, and is slowly making its way up here. And it totally changes the dynamic, of the landscape when you have a whole row of trees or a whole street of trees that has to be removed. And just goes back to some of the things that, in the work that Lisa does here, making sure that we have that diverse tree canopy. So if there is, not if there is, there will be at some point another beetle or bug or insect or something that's going to come along and take out some trees. And we just want to make sure we have that diverse tree canopy here so that if we have to remove a few trees, it's not as drastic as what we're going to see in removing 500 ash trees in our town.
And the council's aware of this, I assume, and can anticipate that if we don't get big grants, that we'll make a recommendation, obviously, to get rid of those, but,
Yeah, council is aware.
okay.
I should note too, up to this point, we've been doing our best at not clear cutting a section of a street, because say one house has 3 ash trees for boulevard trees and that's it, and then the neighbor has 3 ash trees. I've tried to kind of pick and choose so that doesn't happen, but we're likely at that point where we are going to start seeing that. And residents who have room on the city boulevard right away at their address, we will do our best to get them a replacement tree.
Got mine.
John got one here this past fall. Just to reestablish our boulevard trees. So yeah, that's
Alrighty.
it that I have.
Public Works, Andy.
Yeah, really the only update that I have is, as you can guess, it has to do with ice rinks and the fact that we don't have them. We had ice for about a week and a half. The guys tried, but we just can't beat Mother Nature. So we're probably not going to have ice rinks this year, unfortunately. One of the things we talked about last month was the increase in vandalism. I can say that we haven't really seen a whole lot of vandalism happen one time since November. So, we'll take that. We just cleaned up some graffiti off of Brecky Park. It comes right off with the wipes that we buy from a vendor. So we're glad to see that. Another little thing, we finally got our the plaque that we'll be posting for the Twins grant that we got to replace the backstops at Brecky Park.
All right.
And remember that we will be setting a ribbon cutting for the playgrounds or the ballparks sometime in the spring, but just give us a month or two to clean everything up before we do that. If you want to pass that around, take a look at that. So we'll build something and post that right at the ball fields.
Looks
It's
legit.
it's a requirement of the grant, but it's also a little thank you to the Minnesota Twins and their organization and the businesses that gave us the money.
Excellent.
That's it?
That's all I've got, yeah.
Alrighty. Chuck, anything?
No, I don't really have anything.
Alrighty.
Perfect.
Visitors, I see none. Public hearing, no. Old business. New business. Need to appoint a commissioner to a second term. How do we go about doing that?
It's a simple motion. It's fine, and all can vote. Nobody has to abstain.
Really?
Yeah. You can vote for yourself.
All right. Can I get a motion, I guess, to appoint George Hepner to the Parks Commission, term running 2024 through December 2026.
You need a motion? I'll make a motion.
I think we need a motion, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And a second?
A second.
All righty. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Ayes carried.
Ayes carried, that one. Thank you. It's January of each year is the annual meeting of the Parks and Trails Commission, and I presume there's an order of things that have to be done. Chair vote, vice chair vote, so on.
Yes, so Mr. Chair, members of the commission, last year at your annual meeting, you appointed Mr. Hepner as chairperson, Mr. Cates as vice chairperson. Per your bylaws, those terms are allowed to be served for 2 years in a row consecutively. So at this meeting, you can choose to re-elect those people to those positions, or you can flip-flop or switch around, whatever you want to do. Today is your day to take action on those, so we would need some motions for chair and vice chair.
Okay. Can I get a motion to appoint someone chair of the Parks Commission?
I make that motion.
Who would you?
Oh, you?
Tom?
Tom, yeah, wait, which position would?
Chair.
Chair.
Do the chair first.
Hepner, George Hepner.
All right.
Not getting out of it.
Okay, there's one and there's two.
Yeah. Nice try, George.
Any other nominations for chair? All right, all those in favor of, I guess, reappointing George Hepner for the chair of the Parks Commission signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Thank you. Can I get a motion for a vice chair?
I make a motion for Tom Theets to be my vice chair.
Second.
Okay, second. You want to accept that position?
I guess so.
All right. All those in favor of appointing Tom Theets for the vice chair position signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All righty, so we've got those two taken care of.
And then also at your annual meeting is the time for you to take a look at your bylaws and see if there's anything that you would like to change and recommend for change for the city council. And at this time might be a time to consider how often the Parks and Trails Commission needs to meet. If you want to continue with monthly, or if we think bi-monthly or quarterly would be a better fit for the commission, just based on the position of our parks and trails. They're in really great shape right now. So the purpose of the commission is an advisory commission to the council to suggest or recommend or review changes, upgrades, things for our parks, and everything's really been upgraded in the last few years, and so we don't want to waste anybody's time coming in for 10, 15-minute meetings for updates that we can just email out. But we also want you to feel very important. You are important to the city, and so we need to know, from your perspective, would you like to continue monthly? Would we like to do bi-monthly? Just at least for this year. We'll talk about just for this year because things can change in the future. Or should we quarterly?
Are there any recommendations from you or from Lisa? Or?
So we talked as a staff about it, and also I consulted with our council liaison, and we didn't really have a recommendation other than we think monthly is maybe not necessarily. At this time, I feel like we're having to reach out to cancel more than, and so I want to make sure that we're being fair with your time and our time as well. And do we want to, quarterly might be enough for this year. Maybe next year it's every other month, or maybe we want to just go to every other month this year and see how that looks for us. It's really how you feel. And we're here anyway, so we'll do what you'd like.
Is there any timing for you guys with Public Works or for the Department Lisa that would be beneficial that you might be looking for recommendations or decisions that you'd like to have us meet versus, or like some summer months we could skip or whatever?
Yeah, I mean,
That you guys could see?
Well, like Jennifer said, we're here, and so whatever works with you folks, we can definitely make work. But at this point, yeah, I mean, the update, or the projects that we have, I mean, we've got maybe, we're going to have to update the Autumn Hills playground in a few years. That's 5 years out, maybe, give or take. I mean, so we just don't have any major projects. We've got maybe some fence replacement coming up, but those things, we really don't.
You've already
Have
let
much
us
for
know
you
year
monthly.
after year. We need to get after that.
Yeah,
so.
and we talked about the trail rejuvenation
Yep.
stuff, that's in the works.
That's happening, that's in the
Yeah,
works,
it's like-
yep.
You
So,
approved, you approved that trail maintenance plan this year. You updated the Swagger Park playground this year. I mean, a lot of good things have occurred this last year, so a lot of good things have happened. And so just looking to see your thoughts.
I don't want to go every other month?
I was thinking that.
I was thinking
Just
quarterly.
it-
I mean, and do it quarterly, and then if there's
Yeah.
an emergency, they could call us in.
Yeah.
I mean, I
yeah.
Sure.
can imagine. You know.
When I was on the school board, we debated kind of something similar to this, and the flaw in not meeting very often is if, let's say you meet bi-monthly, and that's the meeting that you miss.
Yeah.
Now it's 4 months.
Yeah.
And that gets a little bit awkward, you know, because you're losing track a little bit. If we're meeting, if we want to cancel a meeting or we just have one item that you could email out, you can have the meeting as a proposal. You could have the meeting scheduled each month. Doesn't mean you have to meet each month. But you've got it scheduled in case there is something. If there's not anything, you know, you get a hold of, the chair and say, well, we don't have anything, or we've got one item, I'll email it out.
Okay.
And that way, I mean, that would be my preference, but if bi-monthly or quarterly works better for everybody.
I mean, you make a valid point.
Yeah, that's
like,
good insight.
Yeah.
So long as you guys don't mind, canceling the meetings, it's not, we're
No.
not trying to.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
You know,
No, that's worked out, but it's funny, because I know George said what you might miss. I'm just thinking, yeah, like April, I'm probably not going to be here. Most likely, so if that was the next rotation, it would be a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's, yeah,
Well,
thank you. I'm glad, I wanted to definitely hear what you had to say, so we can keep the bylaws where, section where it relates to monthly meetings, and then, we'll just do what we've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd say don't hesitate, if there isn't anything,
Yeah.
don't hesitate to send that out. I mean,
We won't be heartbroken.
Well, I'm glad you hear that. I definitely don't want you to feel that we don't need
They
to and
don't
don't
want
want
us.
to. It's just, we also don't want to waste your time for a
Right.
10, 15-minute meeting, so.
No?
Okay, good discussion, and as far as the rest of the remainder of the bylaws, you did make some updates over the last couple of years, so I think, in our perspective, staff perspective, everything looks great, but if you have anything that you want to talk about in the bylaws, now's the time.
It all looked good when I read
Yeah,
through
it
it.
looked good.
Okay.
the time, at the end, you've got an amendment changing the time from 6:30 to 6. Someplace along the line, we
Yeah.
went to 5:30.
5:30, yes.
You are.
I don't know if that was another meeting or,
That was I believe that was in 2022, so yes,
Okay.
I'll add that update on.
Yeah.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, it's in this part, but it's an article,
Yeah.
but not in the back. But
Yes. I'll put the footnote on there for the date, so for all of you for next time, but, okay, so then we don't really need any other action on your annual meeting.
anything else that members would like to change, or are we good there?
I'm good.
Okay, I guess we're good. Informational, update, Valley View Park Mountain Bike Trails. There is a letter at the back of your
A very nice letter.
agenda. I guess we're good with that, and do we need to do anything about no?
No.
Okay,
Yep, just as part of their agreements with the city, they're required to provide us with an annual update. Sometimes they come in, sometimes they send us something. All they really had to say this year was that last winter was a little rough. Or last spring, when we got our spring snowfall and then the heavy rain. And that they appreciate everything the city does. So I think we've got a good relationship with them, so I think that's good.
well, and I notice this is November and they aren't mentioning anything down at Oak Park Crossing, so If they don't mention it, we don't mention it, and we're
Sounds
good to
great.
go? Okay. Our next meeting, you'll notice it's, I think, the fourth Monday of the month.
Yes,
Correct?
yes, correct, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. The city does have a holiday on the 3rd, well, the world has a holiday on the third Monday of February, and City Hall is closed, so there no official business can occur on that day. So it is going to be delayed 1 week as it was this month. So it will be the 4th Monday in February if we have a meeting. And then going forward, it will continue with your regular 3rd Monday as in the bylaws.
Okay. Slip that on your calendar, and then upcoming council meeting is Tuesday, January 23rd. Anybody interested?
Just as a note to you all, tomorrow at that meeting, we are presenting a plaque to Judith for her service. So if you want to, you're not required to, but if you want to pop in and be in the audience, 6 o'clock tomorrow night, presenting a plaque for her service.
So she's decided not to wait around and see if there's any applications, or?
I think, as you all know, she's had some health issues
Yeah.
and
Yep.
she's ready to just be an observer more, and she's definitely going to pay attention. She loved being on the commission, and
Sure.
she loved being a part of all this, and so she'll be paying attention, but more on the background.
Okay. And have we had any applications for that?
No applications as of yet, but we do have a couple people interested, so.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All righty, could I get a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.